Elizabeth Warren is a U.S. Senator from Massachusetts who is primarily known by many for claiming privileged American Indian and or Native American minority ethnicity status for possible career advancement. However, her DNA test concluded that the vast majority of her ancestry is European. Warren's maiden name is Herring, which can be English, Scottish, Dutch, and German, but she looks ethnically Dutch. The Dutch, also known as people from Holland, aka the Netherlands, are among the tallest people in the world. Dutch men average over 6 foot tall and Dutch women over 5'7". Elizabeth Warren is taller than average for even a Dutch woman at 5'8". 5'8" was also the average height of Native American men, as well as the height of prominent Apache Indian leader and medicine man Geronimo, who is considered tall for an Apache Indian man, who were on average a little shorter than Native American men as a whole. So Elizabeth Warren overexcels at being a tall woman consistent in height to tall Dutch females, and Geronimo hits the bullseye for being the average height for a Native American male. Let's turn to facial features for a moment and compare the facial features of Dutch people just to a neighboring population, the British. Some of the most obvious Dutch versus British facial differences are that the Dutch have broader and longer faces, and their noses are short and broader and more upturned than the British. So comparing Elizabeth Warren's facial features to a population with very similar physical characteristics, the British, her wide, short, upturned nose and broad face is consistent with the Dutch and not the British. And for clarification, Warren does have a tiny point to the end of her nose, but as a whole, her nose is on the broad side. Now, contrast the Dutch to faraway American tribes. Native Americans on average had shorter foreheads, lower hairlines, aquiline noses, in other words Roman noses, broader cheekbones, broader mouths, as well as more almond-shaped eyes consistent with Asian populations, not to mention darker pigmentations such as hair, skin, and eye color. To quote an 1886 journalist describing Geronimo, cooler features were never cut. The nose is broad and heavy, the forehead low and wrinkled, the chin full and strong, the eyes like two bits of obsidian with a light behind them. The mouth is the most noticeable feature, a sharp, straight, thin-lipped gash of generous length and without one softening curve. Geronimo had thin lips, a prominent chin, and a forward-projecting nose. And turned to the side, he had features that were consistent with what Hollywood apparently considered a great profile. As actor John Barrymore, Drew Barrymore's grandfather, also noted for his profile, like Geronimo, had a strong nose and a bold chin. John Barrymore was dubbed the Great Profile, starred in a movie called The Great Profile, and even cast his facial profile into the cement in Hollywood's so-called Walk of Fame, in addition to the usual hands and shoe prints that everyone else did. So there were clearly features, like the aforementioned profile, which some Europeans and Native Americans share. And also, according to geneticist Brian Sykes, some Native Americans, like the Ojibwe tribe from the Great Lakes regions of the U.S., have maternal DNA matches from Europe and not Siberia and Eastern Asia like most Native American tribes. But on average, however, we can conclude that Elizabeth Warren looks specifically Dutch and Geronimo looks specifically Native American. And Elizabeth Warren can claim Native American heritage as much as Geronimo could have claimed to be Dutch.